All right. Hey, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Draglist Live, where we bench race with the world's top drag racers. My name's Bill Pratt. It's great to be with you tonight. Tonight, we feature Ken Youngreen, whose home-built Viper-powered dragster, supercharged. He ran it this weekend. We're going to find out all about this high-tech marvel with Ken in just a moment. Let's go to John real quick. John, how are you doing, sir?
They're doing great here, Bill, and howdy from Houston, everybody. Please join us on the live chat. I'll take notes and I'll pass your questions and comments along to Bill and Ken.
Thank you, John. Folks, click the like, the little thumbs up down below, and click the share. Let your friends know we have Ken Youngreen here live. And to prove it, let's bring him in. Ken Youngreen, welcome to the show.
Thanks,
How are
guys.
you?
I'm very good. Thanks. I want
Great
to
to see
I want
you.
you to I want to thank you both for having me on your program. This is something I've kind of wanted to do for quite a while, just to be on a YouTube program.
Uh-huh.
I've been taking pictures and videos of my builds and posting them on Facebook for the last 10 years. And people says, well, when are you going to do a YouTube video? And here it is.
We're going to get it started here tonight. We won't be able to show you the bolt by bolt, but we can certainly talk about a lot of it. I'm really excited
Yeah.
about having you on, and I want to thank Pete Moriello, who recommended you. And there's not often we get folks in this modern era who basically build their car from the ground up. But this is a pretty ambitious project, Ken. I mean, you're building the world's only home-built dragster with a Dodge Viper V10. How did the idea first come to you?
Well, I was already racing a Dodge Viper at the drag strip, and eventually found every weak link in that drivetrain.
Okay.
I was using a 300 horse shot of nitrous on top of the stock engine, which worked pretty well until I put drag slicks on it, and then it had enough traction to start breaking things. I eventually broke every part from the clutch to the rear wheels with that configuration. So I started thinking, well, maybe I should get something that's a little more beefier, designed for that. The Vipers have an independent rear suspension, and it's not really made for wheelie popping launches.
Mm-hmm.
Those independent rear components were all they eventually all broke.
Oh my gosh.
Mark Williams sells replacement parts for those, but they're extremely expensive. For instance, a pair of half shafts is $5,500.
Wow.
And that was in 2009 money. So a lot of people said, because most of the problems I had were in the rear end, either the differential or the half shafts or the drive shaft, those kind of things. So people said, why don't you just put a Ford 9-inch in that, and get over with? And I said, well, for me, a Viper is first a street legal sports car and a drag car second. So I didn't want to sacrifice that independent rear suspension. So I just, one piece at a time, replaced every part of it. However, there was one part that I couldn't get a beefier replacement for, and that's the ring and pinion gear set. It's a Dana 44 rear end, what they call a Super 44 for Corvettes and Vipers, and with independent suspension. But they use Dana 44s in Jeeps for rock crawling. Right. And Yukon sells a set of gears for that use. They take the OEM gears, they heat treat them, they temper them to make them a little softer, but a lot more impact resistant. And those are the gears I've got in there now.
That's great.
But when I built a 700 horsepower engine, naturally aspirated, and then put a 300 horse shot of nitrous on top of that. And it would still, I couldn't go a whole season without a broken ring and pinion set. Wow. So I finally took the nitrous off and I run the car that way now. It's a 10-second car now, but I still wanted to go fast. So I bought a dragster chassis, a rolling chassis with a big block Chevy engine in it, and pulled that motor out and started shoehorning in the Viper engine. Well, the Viper engine's 6 inches longer and 3 inches wider at the bell housing. So I ended up having to modify the frame to get it to fit. So in a nutshell, that's how I ended up with a dragster with a Viper engine in it. I raced it for the next 2 years naturally aspirated on pump gas, just to get used to driving a dragster.
Mm-hmm.
And it ran mid-8s out of 155 miles an hour. And, that was pretty fun. But in the back of my mind, I always wanted to have a supercharger on there. So, and not just any supercharger, I wanted the old school Roots blower with the Enderley bird catcher scoop on top.
Right.
That's what looks right to me. There are supercharger kits available for Vipers, but they just don't look right, especially on a dragster.
Right.
I like the looks, the old school looks with zoomy headers, and a big blower.
Yeah.
Speaking
of
what's
blower,
right. Say again?
I said, what's right. You got to have the look.
Yes. Looks are a big factor.
Yeah. Well, how fast have you gone?
I borrowed a 671 with the blower, the current blower on there. 3 years.
Oh, got it. How quick and fast have you gone?
In the quarter mile, 7.8 seconds at 170 miles an hour.
Nice.
In the eighth mile, which is what we run now, 5.0, 5.09.
That's fantastic. So it's bulletproof and consistent. Well, sorry, I cut you off in the middle of the text. Tell us a little bit more about the blower setup.
Okay, I've ended up having, nobody makes a manifold to put a Roots blower on a Viper, or anything that would come close to it. So I ended up having to fabricate my own manifold. I'm a machinist and a fabricator, so I can do that sort of thing. I would have preferred not to have to go to the trouble, but that wasn't an option.
Right.
So anyways, it took me about a year to of trial and error, fitting and machining and welding before I finally got the intake manifold finished. Then put the blower on top of that. I bought a used blower off Racing Junk, a 1471. 1471 was the only one that looked long enough to fit that long 10-cylinder engine.
Yeah, it would look weird.
So 1471 is a little bit big. It did, but I borrowed a 671 from a friend of mine and stuck it on there just for mock-up. And there was, 6 inches behind the blower, just exposed engine. It just didn't look right. So the 1471 looks, to my mind, right. It's the right length for that engine. But it'll put out a lot more air than I should probably be putting into that motor.
Right. How do you tune that?
One of the things that I learned.
Did you just use trial and error to tune it to that big old huffer?
What I did is I put it on a chassis dyno, and we retarded the intake timing way back so that it wouldn't just spin the tires on the rollers, and then used the oxygen sensor with a gauge to adjust the air fuel ratio to get it to around 12-1 all the way up to the rev range. And then after that, we started advancing the timing up to where it started to detonate and then backed it off just a little bit. So basically did most of the tuning on a chassis dyno.
Got it.
And that seemed to work out pretty well.
That's great. Is the motor is the motor response? I mean, how do you feel like it's as responsive as it needs to be for bracket racing? I know you dial in when you run the car.
Oh, it's very responsive. Yes. I bought SCT software so I could reprogram the stock computer. So basically I'm using the OEM fuel injection and ignition. SCT sells that software, and they don't want you using it for more than one application, one vehicle. So what they do when you first load the software up, it looks at the VIN number on the computer itself, and then it's married to that.
Yeah.
From that point on, you can retune that same engine as many times as you want, but you can't use it on any other engine.
Right.
So what I ended up doing now, I swapped the engine computer back and forth between my car and my Dragster because they only have one set of software.
Right.
And they don't make it anymore. So this was the X3.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's it. They're on, that was the X3 version of software from SCT. They're on the X4 now. And they no
Okay.
longer support the X3. So I got to hang on to that because when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, you've customized it up. Do you still run your
Uh-huh.
Viper? So and if you do, you
Yes, I
swap
do.
that software back in?
Yes. Yeah. I occasionally, well, my idea was to keep the Viper as a backup race car. And uh, I had to do that last year. Last year, on the first pass of the year, the original ring and pinion gears that came in that chassis, it sheared all the teeth off.
Wow.
So I ended up having to replace it with a strange Ford 9-inch that I bought from someone who they'd ordered it brand new but never used it. But it was for a door slammer car, so it was too wide. So I had to
Right.
shorten the axle housing and buy shorter axles from Strange. And while I was at it, I got bigger splines. I got their 40 spline spool and axles. So that should last me for a while.
There you go. It's always the
So
weakest link. The thing
meanwhile,
sounds like a monster. Does it have just an incredible amount of torque?
it does. It does. On the dyno, as close as we could tell, it made about 1,400 horsepower. Uh, and I'll run it through a power glide, and it's 5,500 stalled converter on it. So the motor is making a lot of power before I even let go of the button.
Right. Wow.
So and it launches real hard.
I'll bet.
So
One
even as
thing.
long as it is with 30 pounds of lead in the nose, it still wants to, the front end will come up a little bit.
I'll bet it does. Well, Ken, this is fascinating. Before we kind of keep on going to the design and I want to get into the build process a little bit, but let's go to John and see
Mhm.
who's out there and what they have to say.
We're here from coast to coast tonight. We're nationwide.
Awesome.
Pete Mariello in Los Angeles says hello, all, and he had some interesting comments about your dragster. And Rich Panicaro in New Jersey is with us. He says, good evening. Doug Polly, our racer of the week in Hagerstown, Maryland, is with us tonight. He says, hey, Bill, JB, and Ken.
Hey,
Uh,
buddy.
Jim Sanders in St. Louis says, what's up, crew? Just in case I lose my connection before the show is over, I wanted to stumble in and say hello. Kay Thurkelson in Salt Lake City is with us. She says, good evening, everybody. And Kyra, I think it's Kira Steinbach, says, cheers. She say Jay Leno's was at Motor Classics in San Marino today. George Snizek is with us. He says, good evening to everybody.
Howdy, George.
Pete said it would be much quicker on alcohol, but the electronic injectors can't flow enough with the engine computer, from what I understand.
There you go. What about it, Ken? Pete's got the inside.
That is true. Yep. Pete is right. In fact, he tried to talk me into running alcohol when I saw him out at this drag strip. And I said, well, I did plumb the car originally for that, but the injectors won't tolerate it. They won't flow enough to begin with, plus they'll corrode.
Wow.
So I'm just going to run it on race gas for the rest of the season.
Well, Pete recommended me to check out a video of you making a run with your Viper Dragster, and he said you won't believe what it sounds like, man, and that's true. It sounded like two dragsters
Wow.
instead of just one. It was just really amazing. And Linda Erickson said this is very interesting to use a Viper engine in a dragster, and we all agree with that. Earl Redden Jr. is with us tonight, and he's a Nostalgia Pro Stock guy. He says, good evening. And we're caught up for the moment, fellas.
Sounds great. Thank you, John. Thanks, everybody. We got some superstars in the house tonight. Ken, I don't George Snizek's here, the famous Pacers Automotive,
Yep.
fuel altered and top fuel team from the 60s, the national record holder at Indy and many other things. So and many others. Welcome, Kira. Nice to see you. And who has her own set of YouTube channels. So we've decided to watch one another's channels, and I'm glad to have you, my friend, and everybody else. Good to see you tonight. So awesome stuff. Well, let's we talk about some of the engineering challenges. There's probably a lot more we could dig into, but Walk us through your build timeline from initial concept sketches, if you made sketches, to the first run on the track. What was that like? Did you do all the tuning and fabrication yourself? You've talked about some of it, but what was it like to what did people tell you when you said, "Yeah, I'm gonna throw this motor in a dragster chassis"?
They mostly thought I was nuts. They said, "Where are you going to get all the pieces for this?" And I did have to fabricate a lot. I had to fabricate an adapter to adapt the Power Glide transmission to the Viper bell housing, and the same with the coupling inside. A lot of those pieces just had to be made from scratch.
Right.
And the motor mounts. It's a good thing that I was capable of doing that because I could have never afforded to have somebody else do it.
Right.
So,
so just spent a lot of time out in the garage. Do you have all your machining and everything right there? Do you have a shop that you take it to? How did that work?
I do have a machine shop in my garage. I have a lathe and a milling machine and welding equipment and stuff like that. I've been involved in race car fabrication and engine building for most of my life. Mm-hmm. So all this kind of comes natural to me. I do have one sponsor in the town that I grew up, Fortuna, just south of Eureka, is my old buddy, Rod Thompson. He has S&H Auto Machine, and he does things that I can't do. Like I had to rebuild the block, and on it, he had to line hone the main bearings for me, stuff like that. He does the fitting of the cylinders and pistons, that kind of stuff. Even though I can do it at some level, he does it much better, and he's willing to do it as a sponsor.
That's fantastic. Well, it's kind of like me when there's certain things I can do when I can figure out which end of a screwdriver to use. But it's better to, get somebody in there who knows what they're doing and does it every day. I would come to you.
Yeah.
Well, that's really awesome. I'm fascinated by your building your own manifold for the blower. I mean, I wonder if anybody else, if there's just any other application where somebody wants to stick a blower on top of a Viper motor somewhere out there, and they might come to you. And I wonder if there's a little cottage industry to be had there.
Well, I'd have to charge them $1 million for all the man hours I have invested in that.
They could, yeah, would definitely have to do that. Yeah, to have to take scaling, that would be something. Huh?
Yes.
Well, how did you deal with, so, that supercharger fascinates me. So you got the 1471. I don't think probably there's tons of alcohol funny car racers like Pete and others out there. I mean, but could you use any of that knowledge, or did you have to do your own boost levels, custom mods, and did you have to flow it just tailored to your car? I imagine you would, especially on gas.
Yes, even though the supercharger manufacturers do have flow charts and things like that to kind of get you in the ballpark, there's still a certain amount of it that just has to be trial and error. When I bought the pulleys and belt from Good Vibrations, he gave me some tips on how much boost to run. For the engine is 505 cubic inch, mm-hmm. which is a pretty good sized motor to begin with.
Right.
And that 1471 blower will feed, easily probably, 700 cubic inches if you spin it fast enough. But there's a sweet spot in terms of RPMs to run the blower. So we just took a stab at it and I ran the blower 10% over the crankshaft speed, and that made about 20 psi of intake manifold pressure.
That's awesome.
As it turned out to be, that was too much, and I had some detonation issues with. I'm running 110 octane pump gas, or not pump gas, race gas.
So you're out there doing something that many bracket racers don't even deal with anymore. Is running gasoline. I mean, it's shades of the top gas cars of the late 60s and early 70s. I mean, folks haven't really had to deal with that much these days because alcohol does run much cooler, but it just doesn't work for your combo. That's fascinating. Is that something you may consider in the future if you have more time to experiment?
Yes, I will. Like I said, I originally plumbed the car for alcohol. It's all stainless steel and Teflon lined hoses. With that in mind, and with the cost of race gas now, I may go to E85. I'll have to change the injectors and I'll have to change the fuel pump to be able to supply enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's sounding better all the time. A drum of 110 octane race gas now is about $900.
Wow.
So I go through about a drum and a half a year.
Wow.
So, and E85 is $3.60 a gallon.
Yeah.
So I could go. It may be worth it to change my injectors and retune the engine.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm fascinated by, wondering how fast it could go all out if you set it up that way. Of course, you'd have to probably take a lot more tuning because you're going for consistency right now. And although you're mighty
Yes.
fast, I mean, get to sneak up on some of those door cars, I reckon, on occasion. Huh?
Yes. I'm usually one of the fastest cars there.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah, so like 780s at $170, that'll do it in the quarter for sure. And then, like a 5 flat,
Yeah.
I guess, at about a 30, 135, 140 or so. Well, if you need to go that far,
Yep.
obviously you don't want to run it out the back door and break out, but you know,
Yeah.
that's the thing when the Sifka guys
Right
show
now,
up.
my main priority.
Say again,
Oh.
sorry.
Right now, my main priority is reliability. I know there's more in the car, but other than bragging rights, it's really not worth it to put that much stress on it.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, well, that's why I started top sportsman, top dragster in the first place way back when, which is you're basically like a top dragster card. Do you ever consider entering one of those events, or is there anything close enough to you to try to get into a top dragster field?
Yeah, they run top dragsters at Sonoma,
Mm-hmm.
the old Sears Point Raceway, uh, but those guys are in a little different league from me. I can't really compete with them.
Well, those guys are all the old top alcohol, top alcohol dragsters that, they're basically still running the same combo, just, decided not to, get all the high helix stuff and things like that. I know. Yeah. And everybody, all
Yeah.
of them can run right on that 610 index, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
How did you, with all that power and, and a brand new combo, how did the tech guys regard you as you came through? Is there any special safety precautions you had to put into this car that other dragsters didn't have to deal with? Did they give you an extra close look with the microscope there?
On the first time, yes. When I first showed up with the blower on the engine, they were looking at things like the deflector plate that keeps the blower belt from smacking me in the back of the head if it breaks. Things like that. They wanted to look at the hold down straps, mostly stuff that has to do with the blower.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you don't want that thing traveling down the track, as we've seen in past photos from the 70s, and those things are something when they go. Well, it's we talk about a lot. Are there any other innovations that you put into this dragster we haven't talked about yet, like aerodynamics or cooling, how you cool that monster, or weight reduction? Did you have to, I guess you need enough weight there to keep that chassis solid and holding that big old motor up.
Yes. The only weight the weight consideration that I did with it was I had to put 30 pounds of lead in the nose to keep the front end on the ground.
Got it.
It'll still hop up a few inches when I first launch, but at least it stays pretty. I didn't really want to run wheelie bars. I ran wheelie bars when I was racing a Hayabusa, and they're pretty springy, and they tend to bounce a lot. So
Yeah.
I'd rather stay away from wheelie bars. I'd rather add lead and have the car slow down a little bit.
Right. Because yeah, you can't, those things throw you off a bit for your bracket numbers as well, right? Can't, it's just one more thing you have to try to control for. And when you're trying to go for consistency, run
Yes.
after run, am I in the right ballpark there?
Yes, you are. That's exactly why I don't want the wheelie bars on there. I'd much rather add a little bit of weight.
Got it. How did you kind of marry up the drivetrain to that power glide? Was that a unique thing that had to be kind of adapted for the Power Glide as well?
Yes, it was. Uh, they the flex plate wouldn't made up with the Power Glide torque converter. The flex plate that normally comes on a Mopar 10-cylinder truck engine. The trucks sold with automatics, but the Vipers didn't come with any automatics. They're all strictly stick shift. So in order to adapt that, what I did was I made an adapter to adapt a Mopar 426 flex plate to the Dodge Viper flywheel. And even though I'm running a flex plate, I still need to use the OEM flywheel just for the starter ring gear.
Gotcha.
And then after that, it's all GM type stuff for the Power Glide.
Well, so you got a little bit of Hemi Ram
the
in
actual
there as
Power
well.
Glide that what's that?
I say it seems like you got a little
Say
touch of
again?
Hemi Ram in there as well.
A little bit, yeah, one piece.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, it's a technological marvel. How have your fellow racers, fabricators, and fans reacted to this one-of-a-kind dragster? Do they even know what they're looking at? That's what I wonder.
I've been getting a lot of attention. As Pete Moriel alluded to earlier, it has a unique sound. And what he described it as is that when it's idling, it sounds like a World War II warbird, you know, like a P-51 with Allison or Rolls-Royce V12 in it.
Right.
And then, of course, at full throttle, it just sounds like a high revving V8, but it's extremely loud. Louder than you would normally expect for a gasoline burning engine. So after a pass, there's usually people that come down to the pits to take a look at it to see what it is. They've never seen a 10-cylinder engine in a dragster.
Right.
So it's interesting for a lot of people first time exposure to it.
You bet. Does it have that kind of rump to it when it's idling? Is that sort of what it sounds like, or but except with a couple extra cylinders?
Actually not. Because of the electronic fuel injection, it idles smooth like a street car.
Wow.
There's no blower surge at all.
Wow.
So I was kind of thinking maybe I'd want that, you know, just because it sounds nice.
Yeah.
But it would be too much trouble to make it do that.
Well, you don't want to take away from the consistency, but yeah, it's just amazing. I have to go out there and we'll have to take a look and see if there's a way we can share videos on here within the video without blowing it away, because I'd love to show folks what it sounds like. But what we'll do, I'll ask my buddy John there to share the link in the chat if you get a chance, John. If not, we'll do it after the show. But I want to go. I want to go hear this bad boy run myself. Oh my goodness. Well, now that you well, let's take a moment and jump into the chat and see if John, is there anyone else with another question or thought?
Yes, we've had more people show up, and there's a lot of comments on this show that very interesting. My first question for you, Ken, is did you ever have any issues with tech inspection regarding your V10 engine?
No, that part it seems pretty standard as far as the configuration of the engine.
Yeah.
Most all the tech issues had to do with the blower.
Right. Well, Pete said he said, has anyone else expressed interest in putting a V10 in a dragster or an altered? He said, I don't think there are any 10-cylinder magnetos out there.
That's a good question. So yeah, because is your magneto
if you're running a
Viper
magneto?
Sorry, go ahead, Ken. I spoke over. We have a little delay, which is messing us up a little bit tonight. But
that's okay.
Go ahead and Phil.
Okay.
What were you about to say, sir? Ken?
I was going to say, the reason that I ran the stock computer was because it simplified all that. You know, it worked so well that there's no reason to change it. Some people have said, well, why don't you put on one of those new Holly EFI systems that are real popular right now? And I go, well, the stock one works really well. Why would I want to change it? So, but a lot of people think that the stock computer can't be reprogrammed. They're not aware that's a popular way to do it.
Got it. So and correct me, I am one of the guys who would need to reach out to you for the tech. So does that computer program which you've modified, does that take the place of a magneto or a distributor in the case of, regular V8s?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it controls the ignition timing and all the ignition coils and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's not just the fuel, it's also the spark.
Wow, that's fantastic. Cool. Well, you're the more high-tech guy most high-tech guy out there, probably. Certainly in that regard.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Linda Erickson asked, how big is his shop?
I should let you know, Linda Erickson is my wife.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Hi, Linda. We knew she'd be checking in tonight.
Yeah. She knows how big your shop is.
Yes, she knows.
Well, but nobody else does. Tell us about it.
All right. I have a 6,000 square foot shop.
Wow.
It's two-story. The bottom level has 4 shop bays on it, and the top one is like a warehouse for storage. So, and I have a little genie lift I use for raising and lower things from the second story.
Awesome.
So that shop, years ago, I had a computer business and I sold it. And the money from that, I bought some land where we now live in a house that we had built. But before that, the first thing I wanted to do was get the biggest possible shop because I had never had a big enough shop. So I wanted to make sure that I got that first before we started building the house and all the money would be gone. So that's how I ended up with a 6,000 square foot shop.
There you go, Linda. He got the shop first. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. What else we got, John?
Well, let's see. Y'all were talking about the transmission in I think you have a power glide that's hooked up to your V10 engine. Jim Sanders said, shades of mating a Chevy to a Chrysler torque flight.
Yeah.
And I think you also mentioned the Samoa drag strip, and Pete said he said it's almost always in the low 60 degrees there. He said if I lived closer, I would be there often.
Yeah. Thanks, Pete. And Jim Sanders is just to let you know, his uncle raced a fuel funny car for years. Kurt Wasson. He was very popular on the match race tour. Chevy guy, so he had a a lot of welding weird things together back in the day. By the way, thank you to Jim who wore a Draglist Super Crew shirt just like John's wearing at the Cordova World Series of Drag Racing last weekend. So he was out there representing for us in front of a packed stands. Thank you, buddy.
But Jim just said he said I'm just guessing that a coil on a plug system would be hot enough to fire gas.
I
guess. What do you think, Ken? I guess.
But yes, yeah. It is. That's a true story. The Viper is ignition is similar to having a coil on the plug, but they mount the coils on the back of the engine and have conventional spark plug wires going out to the plugs, which I prefer just for the looks of it. I don't really like the looks of all the coils on the valve covers like on a Chevy LS. It just looks cluttered to me. I grew up identifying engines by the shape of their valve covers. And if they're covered up with a bunch of electronics, then that's just hidden.
Yeah, I mean, you want them. Absolutely. You got to see the Hemis, you got to see the 409s. They're all very distinctive, right?
Well, Linda just said, she said, this is a big shop that he has perfected to his delight. He has worked tirelessly and it is full.
Awesome.
And
What I think it's,
Rob
go ahead.
McCabe is
Thanks,
with us.
Linda.
Rob said, he said, I remember there was a drag pack Challenger with the V10 Colette, I believe his name was. He ran it a decade ago because I saw it at Englishtown. And he said he sold it to someone else because I know it was run in another division. That's interesting.
Pretty cool. Yeah, Rob is the guy that does all our lists, and thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Man, good stuff. Anybody else, John, with a thought?
Well, let's see. I think we have everything caught up for the moment. As while we were talking, a whole lot of comments came in, but I think we got them all covered.
We'll give you a chance to digest those. And thanks, sir. And Linda, thanks for joining us. It's great it's really awesome to have your partner back you up like that, Ken. It's pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
Oh, Pete asked if anyone else has expressed interest in putting a V10 in a dragster or an altered. And I haven't heard of any.
Yeah. Does anybody come up to you, Ken, asking for, to try to duplicate your success?
Not for drag race use, but for a lot of hot rods and a lot of people that build hot rods would like to shoehorn a Viper engine into their chassis just for the uniqueness of it.
Right.
And there are a few around in this local area here, Model A's, and one of them was a Dodge pickup truck. That didn't come with a Viper originally. From 06 or 03 to 06, Dodge did offer a Viper engine, genuine Viper engine in a pickup truck, 500 horsepower engine. And those the engine itself is identical to what I'm running, but they only made them for just 03 to 06.
Right.
Prior to that, they had an iron block 10-cylinder motor that they put in pickups, but it didn't share much with the Viper engine.
Right. Wow, it's amazing.
That's where the original 10-cylinder V10 came from, was the iron block truck engine.
Unbelievable. Yeah, that's a whole lot of weight and a whole lot of torque. I reckon I have to go look some of those up and see how they were, how they were regarded out there. And it seems like it's a very small niche in drag racing and in trucking.
Yes.
Well, Ken, now that the dragster is up and running, what's next? Are you planning future tweaks, more runs, maybe attempts at records, or showcasing it at special drag races?
I think I'll probably take it out of town a little bit. One of the tracks I like to compete at is Reading. It's only 3 hours away. And also Sonoma. Both those tracks are easily drivable. So that's, other than that, I plan to race again at Samoa next year. Our season's almost over. We have 2 races left. So then I'll probably take the engine apart just to inspect things, to make sure there's nothing hanging by a thread in there. But I've taken that engine apart so many times I could do it in my sleep.
Yeah.
So it's not a big deal for me to take it apart for inspection.
That's great. Well, if you have the tools and the know-how and the space in that amazing garage, that's a great, you can't even call it a garage, call it a shop. That's not a garage.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Are you, yeah, really, really great. Yeah, any thoughts of putting in any car shows? It's a real looker from what I can tell in the photos.
I haven't really thought about that. But it sounds like a good idea. I put my Viper in car shows, but that's not as unusual as a dragster with a Viper.
Yeah. You can take them both there. People would just, it seems like if there's any Mopar shows up there, people would go nuts for it, just for the, the novelty of it. And then, of course, it runs like a scalded cat, too.
Yes.
Well, tell me, so we were talking before we came on the show about this weekend. You were racing just yesterday. Tell us how the weekend went.
Yes, last weekend we had a race on Saturday and another race on Sunday. They weren't interconnected. Uh, and the reason they do that is because of the cost of prepping the track with traction compound. So they like to have two races back to back while they've got the track prepped. So that's kind of the way they do it at Samoa. It's almost always two races, one on Saturday and another on Sunday.
Got it. Well, you're
Anyway,
saying
Saturday.
so. Go ahead, please.
On Saturday, I went 3 rounds, and on Sunday I went 2.
Awesome.
I'm not really that far up in the points this year, but maybe next year. There's always next year.
That's right. Hope springs eternal. Were you telling us about when you talk about the track prep? You're talking about it's one of the right there near the ocean. It's very, very foggy, very dense. Tell us a little bit about the the weather conditions that you have to race in.
Yes, it is very foggy there. Well, not always foggy, but when it's foggy, it's really foggy. And that does tend to dampen the track a little bit. So the power is always very good, at sea level, and it's really cool. So a lot of people run faster there than just about anywhere else. But we need to make sure that the track is sticky enough. This last weekend, we had to wait till at least 10 before it was dry enough to race on.
Right.
So even though it was light, there was enough fog that it kind of took a long time for it to dry up and get sticky. On the previous race, it got rained out on Saturday. They had a bunch of outlaw cars show up there to run, and they had prepped the track and did test and tunes on Friday, and then on Saturday it rained. So it was ruined.
Yeah, that's terrible.
They all packed up and went home.
It's bad enough just normal weather there because it's kind of dewy and damp, but yikes.
Yeah.
Well, man, it's been so much fun visiting with you, Ken. Let's go to John one more time and see if there's any final thoughts from him or from the gang on the chat line.
Yes, Nick Bublitz says, good to see you, Ken. Always fun to watch your car race at Samoa. And Pete Moriello said, Linda should be in the room with Ken.
Yeah.
And we agree.
You bet. Well, she's over there watching the YouTube channel and making sure that we keep you straight, John. That's what we're going to. So, Mr. Bublitz, having any word for him, Ken, or for any of your other friends out there?
Yes. Thanks for checking in, Nick. Nick Bublitz runs the Sonoma track.
Okay, great.
He's been a racer, local drag racer for many years.
Well, I hear a lot of great things about it from all of our SIFCA friends and now from Ken. So thanks for keeping it going there. It's just fantastic. We need good places to race, and I know you've got a super community out there. Well, finally, Ken, where can folks follow along? Where can we find you to follow along with your dragster and your other exploits?
Okay. I'm on Facebook, Ken Youngreen, and I usually post at least twice a month on there progress with whatever I'm working on. And if it's a race weekend, a lot of times I'll have a video or two of how that went.
Cool. So that's where Facebook we can find the videos.
Post most of my stuff.
Okay, thanks. So that's where we can find videos of the dragster running?
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. If you want to hear it run, there you go.
Good. I'm gonna crank it up and put it on headphones. Oh, Ken Youngreen, thank you for visiting with us tonight. You have an amazing car and in the true hot rodding spirit. Really been fun talking with you tonight. And I guess you've given out great shout outs to your sponsors and your lovely wife. Anybody else you want to say hello to or farewell to here before we say adios?
Not that I can think of, but thanks for offering.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Youngreen, hot rodding, like the past, but into the future. Have a great evening, sir. Nice to talk with you. All
All
right.
right, thanks.
Wow, that's fantastic. Let's say farewell to Ken. And with that, I'm going to turn the show over to John Bachman for JB's take and the Racer of the Week. John, take it away. Whoops, John, you're on mute, my friend. Thanks.
Sorry about that. My pick for Racer of the Week is Doug Polly from Hagerstown, Maryland. Doug is a longtime drag racer, and he is spoken very highly of in his group, and it's an honor to feature him tonight. Doug runs with the Mid-Atlantic Nostalgia Pro Stock Association. He started running with them in 2021, and at present he races a 1974 Nostalgia Pro Stock Chevy Vega tribute car to Bill Grumpy Jenkins.
You're so cute.
I texted him, I said, tell Ken dinner's ready.
Okay, that's cool. It has a 355 small block Chevy with an automatic, a 12-point roll cage, with all the safety equipment that is required by the rules. Doug painted this car himself. It has been featured at numerous tracks across the Northeast from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Virginia. It's a true to the original car. Doug would like to give special thanks to his engine builder, David Alisher, his sidekick, Jimmy Benner, Earl Redden Jr., Wayne and Judy Melly, James Newland, everybody at Hammond's Auto Exchange, and to all his friends and fans. He's been drag racing since the late 80s with his 69 Chevelle, and he's continued his progression to Nostalgia Pro Stock, particularly to pay tribute to the Grump with this fine hot rod. Doug, we wish you good luck, safe racing, and the best of times in the future. I've been working on 2 major projects every day. Racer of the Week is coming along very nicely. The schedule is filling up quickly, and the City Kings album is slowly but surely coming together. I still need to apply vocals, harmonies, and lead guitar, plus one more keyboard track to the current song. But I have those parts memorized, and it'll be taken care of over the next 3 weeks. We have all agreed to mix the album at Kim Van Zant's studio, as he has a world-class sound system that will accurately project the tracks to their fullest potential. I'm going to feature Kim's lead guitar solo on the song I wrote about the ghost in our house, called Gypsy in My Soul. His playing gives me chills. The next song we'll do is Bill's When the Nighttime Comes. Yesterday I found 2 of Bill's songs in my notes that we haven't played yet. Bill Gibson is a great songwriter. His material features deep and meaningful lyrics. I admire Bill. He is a unique dude, and we're fortunate that he is a member of our band. Everybody stay safe and well. You were the most important part of this show, and we love you all. It's a great way to spend an hour together on a Monday night. We'll see y'all next time. God bless America. Back to you, Bill.
Thank you, John. Great stuff, man. As always, I can't wait to hear that City Kings album.
Thank you. Me too.
Let's talk about some cool things that happened or coming up this weekend. Or actually, is it this one? Maybe the next one. It is the following weekend. So, Eastern Museum of Motor Racing. Jeff Golden asked me to reach out to tell everybody that we have an amazing 51st annual WGOT Eastern Museum of Motor Sports or Motor Racing Convention coming up. It's on the 5th through the 7th of September. If you check out the front page of Draglist, we threw a flyer up there, but it features this year a rotating exhibit called High Speed Innovation, talking about the evolution of safety in drag racing. Exhibit's going to feature Bruce Larson, Mr. USA 1, and his Mr. Clean race car, which we saw up at Hagerstown a couple weeks ago. And Bruce is going to be the 2025 convention Grand Marshal. And they're also going to honor our old friend Wally Bell during the convention roundtable discussion on Sunday at 1 p.m. And by the way, the roundtable will be led by Mike Dunn, the famous funny car racer, and of course, the former IHRA president. But I just talked with Beverly Bell today, who will be coming up from the Carolinas to attend this event. So that's September 5th through the 7th at the Eastern Museum of Motor Racing up there in York Springs, Pennsylvania, just north of Gettysburg. So check it out, folks. Front page of Draglist to tell you all about it. Upcoming guests, let's talk about next Monday night. It's Labor Day, so we won't have anybody. We're going to take the day off, and we hope you have a wonderful Labor Day and get a little bit of rest and relaxation from your weekly labors. On the 8th of September, Johnny West, the legendary funny car racer, is going to visit with us, and we're going to find out all about how he kept it running so clean, fast, and safe. And then on the 15th September, was talking about this today. I'm actually off again because there'll be a work event I'm involved with. So then we'll take another little break. And on the 22nd of September, we'll talk with Chico Kodama from Moon Eyes, that terrific brand that's been in the sport for decades and decades, both on the drags and on the salt flats. On the 29th, we'll visit with Dina Paris, the Pro Mod champion, the lady that drives a Cadillac Pro Modified. She's unbelievable. She's so much fun. Dina's going to join us on the 29th. And then in October, on the 6th, Dave Gallegos, the Nitro Clown Nostalgia Funny Car driver, joins us. On the 13th, Steve Macklin, the Fuel Funny Car racer from Utah, will join us. And then on the 20th of October, Kai Michelson, the Rocket Man, returns. We've had Kai on the show before. It's been many years now, but he's pretty much, if he salutes it, if it doesn't salute back, he sticks a rocket engine on it and sends it down the drag strip. So, I mean, everything from like skateboards to motorcycles to wheelchairs to, of course, some of the fastest legitimate race cars in the history of the planet. So Kai Michelson, the Rocket Man, joining us on October 20th. And then right after that, lots of November and a little bit of December coming up. And Miss Kate and Mr. Mariel are working hard on that stuff as well. So great guests coming up. Let's go on to those we lost, and a sad duty to report one of the giants of the sport tonight. But I had to apologize. We missed this racer back in June. We found out just this last week that he had passed away. Tim Lizakowski from Canton, Ohio. Tim used to race a Vega Pro stock car. It was one of those SRD Vegas. And here we were talking about Doug Pauly's car tonight. It's one of those speed research and development Vegas out of Pennsylvania, just like the Grumpy had. This was in the mid 70s. I was from Cleveland, folks may know. He was one of our local heroes at Thompson Drag Raceway and Dragway 42 as the touring pros came through, Grump and Nicholson and Sox and all the rest. And Tim was out there holding his own with his cool little SRD Vega. So farewell to Tim Lizakowski, passing away on June 27th. And sorry we missed that the first time. On the 23rd of August, just very recently, we lost Bob Hutman. And Phil Burgess mentioned him online. It was Bob Hutman with the Ambrose, Argenta, and Hutman Comp Eliminator car. Reynald Argenta, we lost him a couple of years ago, and now Bob. And really great a Comp Eliminator team. Steve Ambrose is still with us, so our condolences to Steve. But Phil Burgess made a comment in his weekly Twitter post to say farewell to Bob Hutman. So a terrific racer. And then also on the 23rd, hate to report this, our former guest on Draglist Live and one of the great men in motorsports, Forrest Lucas, passed away. Lucas Racing Oil is a self-made entrepreneur. He turned a small startup into the global brand, Lucas Oil, became one of the NHRA drag racing's most influential benefactors. He was 83 when he passed away, but for more than 2 decades, Lucas Oil served as the title sponsor of the NHRA Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series, supporting thousands of grassroots racers and sportsman competitors. The brand also became the official oil of the NHRA, lent its name to the Lucas Oil Nationals in Brainerd that we just enjoyed, and the season-opening NHRA Winter Nationals in Pomona, California, and then secured the naming rights to the Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park. and we just put up photos of the new building just this last week. So our condolences to the family and friends of Mr. Lucas and these other great racers. Thanks for the thrills over the years, guys, and you know, our love to the family and friends. John, you had a thought, sir?
Yes, Beefy. I didn't know that Forrest Lucas had passed away. I heard you mention him earlier, but I didn't know that that was what it was. And I'm just heartbroken over it. I love the guy. He was just a wonderful human being and a self-made man,
Mm-hmm.
and he did it all himself, and well, with his wife as well too, you know. But man, that is a major loss to motorsports. But I believe that Morgan Lucas will step in and take over, and he'll do just fine. But
I'm sure you're right.
rest in peace, Forrest. You were a great guy.
Thank you, John. Yeah, we had Forrest and Mrs. Lucas on the show a couple of years ago. We've had Morgan on the show as well. So I need to pull those up and put them up on the Facebook page with a link to those shows and just he was very kind, very just of course very humble for all the things they've done for the sport. But it was an honor to know him
He
and
did.
thanks.
He helped a lot of people.
It certainly did. Yeah. How many race cars have Lucas Oil on the side of them? It's just in as major sponsors and as minor sponsors as well. Plus, I know just a ton of product, you know,
Yeah,
has been used by the drag racing community and probably many other racing organizations as well.
that's
Well,
true.
John, that's that. Before we do a final wrap, any thoughts from you? We're about to do Labor Day and give everybody like a break for about a week, and then we'll be back.
Well, I really enjoyed having Ken Youngreen with us tonight. I mean, you know, he's a unique individual,
Hmm.
and he's very creative and highly intelligent guy. And he built a superb hot rod. It's from what I understand, it's entirely home built, and that's something you don't hear every day because a lot of people just race store-bought cars and
Hmm.
they work on them and everything. But no, this guy he's a true original, and I appreciated his visit tonight. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Labor Day weekend and the U.S. Nationals. It's the
Hmm.
70th U.S. Nationals,
Wow.
and I'll be posting a graphic about that. And I'm looking forward to our future guests. Johnny West is one of my favorite people. He's going to be cool to have with us on the September the 8th, I
Eighth,
believe it
yeah.
is.
That's great. And that's a return visit. So we've had Johnny on before. He was amazing. We'll see what he's been up to recently. And we'll recap some of his early career as well. I'm looking forward to it.
That's right.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Just everybody have a good time and enjoy that extra holiday.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, John. Let's do a wrap, folks. We want to thank Ken Youngreen, who was terrific. John Bachman, my brother. Thank you so much. Kate Turkelson, who got us all set up almost week to week and keeps getting new guests. Pete Moriello, who brought us Mr. Youngreen tonight. Thank you, Pete. Rob McCabe, who's out there tearing up the drag list. David Oakes with the photos. Mel Bashore, Ron Toombs, John Mernon II, all getting the drag list up to date. Of course, thanks to Jeff Gilded for getting us our start back in the day. And thanks in heaven to the big man, Danny White. I was thinking about him a lot over this weekend because I was going back and doing old edits on some of our older entries and just kind of refreshing the lists. And guys, I tell you, there are thousands of racers on the drag racing lists that we have not edited since we originally brought them over from the old DOS-based system. Believe that or not, it's unbelievable. And I was looking at the earliest edit that we put onto the new brand new database system at the time. It was 2006 by Danny White. And so, you know, we've got entries. He's still by far the biggest numerical contributor. We keep track of every time someone edits an entry. And he's still at the top, even if people come and edit one of his entries subsequently. He's the man who got it done for us so for so many years. So anyway, click the like and click the share this with your friends, even if you're seeing it on the recording. The like is a little thumbs up down there. You can share down there as well. And then the little Draglist logo down here is where you can join our family here by signing up for the drag racing list community on YouTube. And folks, check in on draglist.com every day to see what's new. Lots of good stuff up there. And finally, let's say farewell. Happy Labor Day. Next week, we will see you on September 8th for Mr. Johnny West. Until then, have an awesome, awesome week.